Today we're going to be talking about women in the industry, and we've got a woman that's in the industry. She's kicking ass. Her name is Cassandra Furco. Cassandra, welcome to the our first Tech Forward podcast, which I feel like is more of a rehearsal, and hopefully no one will judge our performance on this thing, but let's just try to have some fun with it.
All right.
How are you doing this morning?
I am doing great.
Yeah, thanks for driving all the way from, where are you from again?
Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers, Florida. I've never been down there before.
Actually, I drove from the hotel that was right down the road. I was scared we'd have a hangover and
oh, nice.
not make it to
Nice. Hope you're enjoying your spiked coffee over there. So you're a technician in the live events industry. Mm-hmm. I always like to ask this question of everybody because I got into this industry by accident. How'd you stumble into live events?
Oh, okay. Extremely long story short. I grew up on a farm.
Okay.
And one of the gentlemen that worked on the farm was a rigger, and he went out on tour a lot and came back, and he always told cool stories. So I was like, man, I think that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
More stories.
Yep.
Some. And so when I got to college, I was like, I stepped out of it and went to be a music teacher. Sat in a classroom, decided I did not want to be a music teacher. We did kazoos one day.
Okay.
30 kids playing kazoos. It's not where I was going to sit at for 30 years.
That never sounds good.
No, and I give teachers all the props in the world for being teachers. But so one of the gentlemen at the college came over and he goes, I don't think you want to be a teacher. He goes, why don't you come over to our music business department? And they were building the music business department at that point. And we had a Midas board, and he gave me some video equipment, and he goes, we're going to do a rock opera and tour. Do you think you could do some video? And I was like, I've never done it before. He goes, well, here's some Final Cut, and here's this, and here's that, and I'll give you about 2 weeks to come up with something. So I called up the police station and said, hey, can we fake an arrest? Can we do this? And then it just snowballed from there. And I started doing stuff like that. Looking back, the videos are horrible.
As they should be, you know.
They were.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm the best video person out there. And then now
Yeah.
looking back, I was like, oh my God, we showed that to people.
And this is in Florida, or where are you actually starting your career?
I was in Grayson, Kentucky.
Oh. See, I started in Michigan, so it's a very small, area that you can actually do this in.
Yeah.
So that's why I moved to Orlando, much bigger, much bigger market.
Well, when I graduated there, I actually worked in Nashville.
Okay.
I didn't know if I wanted to do the tech side. I went for music business contracting because I love ripping apart contracts. That's actually still a passion. Someday I want to do that. But worked and did an internship for Provident Music for marketing, and then Norris as an office assistant to see if I wanted to do that route, to go a label or work in an office. And from there, just started picking up gigs, seeing if I wanted to get it, and it just became an addiction. And
so what was your first paying gig? That would be kind of more on the corporate side. Do you remember what it was and what you were doing?
Honestly, I don't know if I remember my first corporate gig. I did a lot of rock and roll, did a lot of wardrobe, did a lot of lighting. I did a lot of theater before I actually did technical and corporate side. I only switched to corporate about 7 years ago, maybe. Okay.
And do you enjoy it?
Yes. I miss the rock and roll. I miss the culture of all that. But corporate, they pay you to sit there and learn. You're basically learning whatever you want.
And it's a nice controlled environment.
Yep.
Nice air conditioning. It's always the
AC,
same temperature in the ballroom.
Yep.
I always used to say.
The paychecks don't bounce normally. Corporate's
and you don't have to
help
travel because you're out of Fort Myers, so that's kind of a small market down there.
Yep.
So in that market, what have you done kind of to set yourself apart from others that are working in that market? Diversify, because you mentioned to me earlier that you do rigging, but you also do video.
Yes.
So when you kind of started doing gigs, did you do everything and then kind of settle on those two? Like I kind of started doing everything, and I said, hey, I really like video. I'm sticking with video. Did you kind of do audio gigs and lighting gigs, some rigging, some video, and then kind of settle on those two and say, hey, I'm going to do rigging calls and I'm going to do video calls, and that's my focus? Yeah,
actually, I was the best bona fide box pusher you'd ever found when I first started down there. That's literally just pushing boxes was some of my first gigs. But someone had once told me, be a box pusher so that you can see all the labels, so that you can read everything, you can learn what those cables are.
Right.
And learn digging the trenches, basically. And so I started with that. I started in theater down there, so I did mostly those things. And then slowly people were like, hey, why don't you come to this gig? We're short a person. And then I got into that and started doing lighting, because lighting seems to be a place where they put women, believe it or not. If you ask most people, LDs are usually That's a spot. And
can I ask you about that real quick? Because
Yep.
there's something I was thinking about this morning. Is in my experience, first of all, there aren't enough women in our business. But what I've seen is there's way more women in lighting
Yes.
than there are audio.
Yep.
And there's even fewer in video. Any idea
Unless
why
they're in
that
graphics. Unless they're in graphics
or
and playback.
teleprompting.
Graphics is very, and teleprompter, yeah.
Now, why is that?
You know, I asked a couple people that because I don't know. It's I guess it's just always been
I don't know either,
that
'cause you can't-
directional. So I asked somebody
Yeah.
actually the other day,
And
what
what'd they
do you
say?
think? Because I started asking, because perception's weird to me. Like my perception of how it is totally different than anybody else's because it's whatever path they did and how they learned changed their perception. But they were like colors. It's because there's a lot of colors. I was like, wait, so what are you saying? Girls like colors? And he's like, well, you know, interior designers and, you know, they like colors. They like matching it. So lighting is good for them.
Really? See, I was always thinking that maybe it was
really?
because maybe more women do theater in school, high school or theater in college.
And that's what I thought.
Theater doesn't involve video most of the time, so maybe that's how they gravitated
went into lighting.
into live events.
Yeah.
But I think there's always a stigma like, women might not get into live events because it's strenuous or it's a lot of work, which I think is kind of a misconception. But then you could, if anybody ever was ignorant enough to say that, you could say, well, look, most of the women that are in this industry are doing the hardest labor, which is putting truss together, stringing socket pecs, and hanging lights. That's the most physical labor that you can do in live events.
When I found out video had SDI versus a Socko pecs,
you're in. That's why I was in.
Done. But
Yeah.
I don't have to pull feeder. That's
Right.
an actual thing. Like, so it's weird. Yes, to look at it in that way, it's weird to see that because that is some of the heaviest cable. And then most guys are audio guys, and audio is hard. Don't get me wrong. Like to tune your ear and to be a true audio person, you have to have that skill. It's not just pushing buttons and being able to program a console. But they have XLR. Their rigs are hung by motors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they might be picking up some subs and putting speakers on sticks, but they have a console and XLR. How did women not translate into audio? How did that not, if we're going to talk about workload, because lighting is extremely heavy.
You're right.
So I don't know, but it is a thing. Other than graphics, you just pick up the laptop and you go. So that's, honestly, I have 2 daughters, and I told my oldest if she's going to get into something, go into graphics first.
Well, it's something that's always needed.
Yep.
Right? You're always going to need graphics, and it's good, steady work. Mm-hmm. And technically, that's in video. But yeah, I don't really see a lot of female projectionists, video engineers, high-end, high-res graphics operators, maybe a few more camera operators.
Yep.
And I think that's a lot to do with the flexibility. Something that a lot of people don't talk about in live events is that most technicians are freelancers.
Yes.
So if someone like you, that's like you're full-time, this is what you do, you can do rigging, you can do video, you can do whatever you want, and that's your profession. You can travel, you can make good money, you can do a lot of things. But there's also some people women that are stay-at-home moms that just want to run, they just want to do a couple gigs a month, make some extra money, and this industry gives them the freedom to do that because you don't have to fully commit. You could just work 3 or 4 gigs and just kind of be done with it.
Yeah, and call it good. And that honestly, so my career path has changed with my kids. And I will say that it has. I worked 70-something hours a week some weeks, as all techs do. A lot of people go, I can't believe you do it. And I said, well, think about it. 10-hour shift, sometimes 15, 16. You're working a 5-day run. You're unloading trucks on the 6th day. You loaded in on the 1st day. It is demanding, especially having kids at home. It is a hard career, but it's rewarding. And in that facet, when I had my daughter, I literally got picked up by one of the companies that now is one of my largest clients because they went, well, if you're staying home more, would you be willing to come work with us? And it modulates and it changes. And that's what the great thing about the industry, especially being a mom, being a woman, being anybody, even being a man. If you want to move, you can move wherever you want with this. It's literally all over the place.
It gives you complete flexibility.
Yeah.
So if you decided, hey, I'm kind of done with South Florida, I want to move to Denver.
Yep.
Or I want to move to Las Vegas or Phoenix, you can do it. And a lot of times your contacts are in those areas as well. So you can just say, hey, I'm moving to Phoenix. You start picking up local gigs, or they put you on a plane and they fly you to the show.
Yeah.
So it's complete flexibility.
And that was Fort Myers. Fort Myers is not a very strong market. Everyone said, why don't you move to Orlando? Because I used to do a lot of my work up in Orlando. I would drive up here and go back down. But I like the beach and I like the mountains. So if I'm going to be in Florida, I want to be near one of them.
Right.
But RSW is 5 minutes from my house. So to go to work, I drive 5 minutes, get on a plane and go.
Okay. Well, let's talk really quickly about the entrepreneurial side of things. So if you look above my shoulder over there, you recognize that switcher, the Screen Pro 2?
Yes.
So that's the first piece of equipment that I ever bought, like 12 or 13 years ago. And I remember when I was a technician, I kind of thought to myself, well, I'm kind of at the point where either if I want to make more money, I either have to raise my rate or work more days. And it was getting to the point where those two things weren't feasible.
Yep.
So I had to figure out, well, if I'm just going to put myself in a seat as an operator, which is perfectly fine, I have to do that. Or if I want to grow, I need to start investing in myself and investing in equipment.
Yes.
So I don't know if you had this feeling, we'll get into this in a second, of when you started buying gear, but I was kind of like looking over the edge, like I'm literally going to put all the money that I've saved up over a year or two into buying some gear and hope for the best. But what happened is when I did that, I transitioned myself from being just call Tyler, book him for this gig and he'll run the switcher, to providing a service. And now I'm providing a service, and over time that service grew and grew and grew, and then it turned into this company. When did you start seeing yourself more as just someone that was coming in and doing labor to someone that was running a business? Because I see a freelancer is technically a business.
Yes.
And I think the job is if you want to grow, you need to grow your business and grow the services you provide. So how'd you go down that path, and what equipment have you purchased?
So I'm still teetering on that. I like the flexibility of not having the overhead of the debt of it, because now it's, okay, so now I have to rent this out. Now that's a different facet. For me, it was a push. I wanted something so I wasn't just sitting there. I love the education part. Video is great because everything's changing so fast that you don't get bored with it. You're learning a new switcher, you're learning this, you're learning that, you're doing this. But the equipment side, I went, wait, so I can buy this equipment. You're going to pay for this equipment. And then I'm going to make money off this equipment. Well, I'm not even, it was complete cash flow from one to another. I didn't even have to touch it. So I have 2 playback machines, I have graphics machines, I have my switcher, so I can go in and go, I have everything right here. And
you bought a Barco S3, right?
Yes.
That's not like a little $1,000 switcher. That's a pretty large investment.
No, it was. And for me, I go big or go home. It's one of those things. I didn't want to go do a 902. I didn't want to grab, something that I don't even like pulses, to be honest. But I run Ascenders. But I like Barco products. And I don't do large enough shows right now.
This is not sponsored by Barco, by the way. I'm just kidding. I love Barco products too. We love Barco here.
Sorry.
Believe me, we love Barco, and we're glad that you bought a Barco product.
This is Evolved Media. We are not sponsoring anything. So I got a switcher to do the shows that I'm selling right now in my life. So it's not too big. It didn't give me too much of an overhead. But at some point, I hope to switch to the E2 or whatever else that comes out.
Now, did you have clients that asked you if you would buy this equipment? Like they said, hey, if you own this, we would rent it from you? Or did you kind of feel like if you bought it, you had clients that you knew would rent it? Because maybe you were seeing them renting the gear from other places, and you knew, hey, if I show up, it's my package, it's my equipment, that's a value add that you could sell.
Okay, so it was 2, and it doesn't work for everybody. And some of it was foolish on my end, but it worked out in the end. So a lot of the clients that I work for this is actually what pushed me to buy the S3. The 902 is what I use a lot down there because we do small gigs. But the problem is a lot of people don't know that there's larger switchers, or they don't know the possibilities of it. So we would matrix 902s. So I was getting 3 902s matrix together to do multiple screens.
So you're switching like this with 3 fingers.
Yeah,
okay.
And making sub-switching and this and that, and then DAs everywhere. And I just went, this is a point of failure. So there were a couple shows that were large every year, and I said, look, I will show you on a nice switcher what this is going to be and how seamless this is and what you can offer to a client. So I cross-rented it first.
Okay.
To show them that, hey, you can do this, but you can do it seamlessly without all these air gaps or issues or anything, someone kicks something. And then it went from there, and I went, why don't I just buy one? Why am I cross-renting? Why am I putting it out there for these people to cross-rent, for me to run equipment? Why don't I just buy the equipment and then offer it to them? And so that grew, and then I saw people come in with laptops that would crash and clients that had, playback machines that weren't working, and I went,
so you're just paying attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah,
saying,
so I slowly started getting things that I saw there were gaps that people were having issues with, and then it slowly grew from there.
This sounds very familiar. I'd be very careful if I were you. This could happen.
This could happen.
It all starts very innocently, and then all of a sudden it just you have warehouses of gear and 40 employees.
Yes.
But it's nice, it's nice is you're in a kind of a niche market down there, and obviously you can send your gear and you can send yourself anywhere that you want to go. Mm-hmm. But the nice thing is in the market that you're in, you could be the big fish in kind of a small pool down there.
No,
right?
there's actually it's very saturated. Our market, believe it or not, it's for video techs. A lot of the video techs actually fly out for work. There are very strong techs down there. Just most of them fly out. They don't work locally.
Okay.
There are there's more than 2 companies, but there is a heavy hitter in our area that used to do the area, but now they fly out. And I actually work for them. They're very good people. But
okay.
I don't know if that's what I want to do in that area. I think right now I'm doing it just to be home with my kids, to stay on top of it, to actually be able to use switchers like that.
But isn't it nice to have that flexibility that you can actually do that?
Oh, absolutely.
That's one thing that...
I mean, I have a gig coming up that, they were like, we're going to use an S3. And I said, oh, well, instead of cross-running, I'll come up with mine. That gave me a flexibility, but that also upped my rate. That gave me more money in those 5 days. So now I don't have to pick up an extra week. My end goal is to be home more with my kids. Or, you didn't want to work extra hours and, it was either work extra hours or up your rate. Well, at some point you hit a rate, and at some point you can't pack any more hours in your day.
Or you just get bored.
Or you get bored.
You want to make it more exciting.
That's true. Yep. And for me, I have an S3. I'll bring my S3 in.
And it's kind of exciting when you get to rent it, right? It kind of gives you a, kind of an adrenaline rush.
Mine, yeah.
Exactly.
That's out. That's my baby. And then training people on it so that I have techs that can actually go out with it.
And that's the next step, is make the products work for you. So you're not necessarily behind them every day operating them.
Yeah,
enough. If you have 2 S3s, one's out on rentals, and the other one maybe you're operating.
Yep, and that's my end goal. Honestly, I don't want to go too much with my S3. My goal is to find other technicians that can utilize that, and I send them out. I have 2 that are in that process.
It's excellent.
So
shifting gears a little bit, you're here for our Showgirls event, which is, we're taping this on the 4th. This is happening on the 4th, so people are watching this, so the event's already happened. But this is kind of a project that we put together where we want to promote women that are in the industry and hopefully motivate more women to be in the industry. So as a female in a kind of a male-dominated industry, how do you feel in the live events industry as a woman? How can we get more women in our industry? Are there any challenges? Are there any barriers that you want to try to break down? What do you kind of see as your role as a female in the live events industry?
It's hard. It's hard to say it because I'm usually the only female on the crew. Like, it becomes an actual thing. So I know when I rig, there's not many female riggers in my area. So I'm usually the only female rigger. I did meet one in Tampa, and there's a couple in Orlando that are amazing riggers.
Do you feel like you have to prove yourself out of the gate, or do you feel like there's instant kind of acceptance?
Oh no, it's prove yourself.
So you got
to
go in swinging.
Now, I've been very lucky. I've had very good mentors. I've had people that have told me straight to my face, I'll never be in their rafters. I will never let a female in my rafters. I have been told that 2 different places, actually. One was never rendered. I just left, and I said, there's other people. So at some point, you just have to go, you're not worth my time and my fight. There's a million fish out there.
And maybe there's a little bit more machismo in rigging than maybe in video.
Yes,
so that might be a little bit harder to really break in there.
And you do really have to be able to pull a motor. And I've seen it where some women come in and they go, oh, I want to be a rigger. And they get up in the rafters and they can't pull a point. Well, at that point, now you're paying 2 people to do the job of 1. So that stigma holds true in some areas. It has happened where they've let someone go up and they can't pull their weight. And now they're paying 2 people to do 1 person's job. And that kind of sat there with a lot of people. So when I came in and said, I want to be a rigger, they were like, oh, crap, now we got to hire an extra person, and this is going to cost us extra, and this and that. So I get where the mentality comes from to a point. But it's, instead of taking someone for face value, like if I was a guy and walked in, and they went, okay, you want to be a rigger? Do you know bowling? Do you know this? Do you know that? Do you know safety? Blah, blah, blah. It was, can you even pull a point?
Do you thrive on that, though? Thrive that people might kind of have a misconception when you walk into the room, like, and just go in there and kick ass?
I don't know if I thrive on it. I've learned to push through it, use it as a strength. Because I know a lot of times when I walk into gigs, people are like, oh, who brought you?
Really?
Yes, I had that a lot. I had a lot of people, like, oh, who do you know here?
Oh, like your boyfriend brought you to work or something like that?
Yeah, like someone brought me to work, or, I knew somebody and they got me. And maybe I'm hypersensitive to it to a point because I feel like in the industry, a lot of people got in because other people are in the industry. Sometimes it's not even your skill. It's being at the right place at the right time in the music industry. you're in a back alley and there's short somebody and they go, hey, wanna come to work? So I might be hypersensitive in that area where I hone into more of those comments versus most people. But I've been very lucky with my mentors. Everybody's pretty much welcomed me in. So on the rigging side, I just had to go to a different market. I couldn't rig in the market that I was in.
Now, can you describe what you mean by mentor? Like, did you meet someone that was maybe a head rigger or something that kind of took you under their wing and started showing you the ropes? No pun intended, but when you say
literally,
mentor, can you describe that a little bit?
I guess I use it loosely, but not even a head rigger, but just someone that had the mindset that went, so what? If she can pull the point, let her in the rafters. There are always going to be people with different opinions and perspectives on things, but you find those people in the industry that go, well, if you can do it, I'll give you a shot.
So do you feel like there's misconceptions that need to be broken down, or do you just kind of feel like, you know what, it's kind of a level playing field? Maybe there's some times that maybe there's someone on the crew that's says something or has a little bit of an attitude, but for the most part, you go into work and you feel comfortable and you feel like you're treated the same. So if that's the case, what do we have to do to try to get more women into our industry? Because I kind of look at it as, number one, we need more people in our industry. Like, people should, for the amount of income that you can make, the amount of freedom and flexibility, the fact that you can work freelance, that you can grow a business. There should be people lined up out the door that are working at the mall right now. Maybe they're working at a computer store, at the Genius Bar. And they could be a projectionist, so they could be running an E2 or a switcher or out there doing live events or touring, but they don't even know that this industry exists. So what we're trying to do through our whole Life of Live campaign and through Showgirls is not just talk to people like you that are in the industry, but to try to motivate people that are outside of the industry, that are literally making a cappuccino right now, that might build computers at night, or might be a gamer, might be tech savvy, that have no idea that this industry exists and that is growing so rapidly, and it needs people, and we have such a shortage. So what we're trying to figure out is, how do we? It's easy to talk to people that are in the industry. It's really hard to find people that you kind of like, you see them out in the street and you're like, hey, you'd make a really good live event technician. Like, I don't know what that is. Because a lot of people,
I think it's getting there. I think that's the issue. Is so my girlfriends, I brought a couple of them to work. I brought them to work.
And you're mentoring now too, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of part. So it's all come full circle.
And I've tried to get them in, and they've worked shifts with me, and they went, I'm not doing this. It's crazy. You're out of mind, these long shifts. And I think you really have to find the people with that passion, like you said, those people that are. And there's nothing wrong with making coffee, but I love coffee. At night, I love coffee too. But at good night. Coffee. They're fixing computers. They're ITing. This generation coming in, and I say that because I'm a millennialist, but we're raised on technology. This is a perfect time to flood a market with people that know it better than any of us are going to know it, because they were raised by it.
Or at least get people into it that see if it suits them or not. I remember when I started, I loved the fact that I was like, I can work on the weekends, and I can make lots of OT, and it's like high stress and high pressure. Some people might be technical, but they get into that environment and they can't deal with the stress and the pressure, and the fact that you have a load in tonight and you have to be show ready by 6 a.m. the next morning. And some people can't deal with that, but some people can. So I've always felt that you actually don't have to be technical to be good or to thrive in the live events industry. You have to have the right attitude. So you could be working construction right now and be an amazing live event technician or an amazing LED engineer. You just have to learn how it works, how the building blocks work, how things go together, and then you use your work ethic in order to excel in our industry.
And I think some of that might be the intimidation factor. So I know, and not even speaking because I'm a woman, but as a human being, walking into an industry and seeing everything come off the trucks and go, oh my gosh, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that works. It's intimidating. It gets a little nervous, like, wait, maybe I shouldn't be here. And then people second guess and they go, well, what do they know? And I think sometimes people are scared to teach people things because they're scared they're going to take their job. And I know I've been told that by multiple people, like, why would I train you if you're just going to come in and take my job?
You almost want them to take your job. Like, look, take my job because I'm moving up. I'm progressing in my career. And that was my thing. Like,
I have a girl that I met when I was on the road, and she had asked me a couple questions, and I spoke not very nicely of the industry, actually. I was like, it's a beast. It'll eat you alive if you let it. There's a lot of facets of it. if you look into those things and that's what you concentrate on, it's going to destroy you. The stress level, the no sleep, this and that. But if you hold on to the things that push you, the community that you build, the equipment, the education you learn, the things you get to do, they're paying you to travel. You get to see so many places that not a lot of people get to go. I mean, there's so many positives in the job that I think some people get stuck here.
Yeah.
And they don't come over to the positives. And that's more of it's a mindset. The concept, you can always get education. You can always do training. I do training. I still do training. You can always learn. You can YouTube. You can do this. You can do that. And I think you're right. A lot of people feel like they need to have that knowledge walking through the door.
And also the other thing too is, to your point, people don't teach life management in this career either. Because a lot of times you end up getting in the social scene where you do the load in, you end up going to the bar every night.
Yep.
You're not going to the gym, you're going to the bar, you're not eating well, you're not sleeping well.
Yep.
It's almost like being a musician where you're just going from show to show. The lifestyle can be kind of hard.
And you lose a lot of people that way.
It can wear you down. That's
Yep.
the dark side of it. And also, people come in and they work more and more, and they feel like, hey, if I got to make more money, I got to be on the road. Well, that's great when you're in your 20s, but what about when you have a kid or two
Yep.
kids or a wife? Marriages fall apart. Things happen because people don't know how to adapt to the live events industry later in life. And I'm not saying it's a bad industry. Mm-mm. It's just that people have to know, look, when you hit certain points in your life, figure out a way to diversify, like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Buy some equipment. Figure out how to not just rent yourself out. That's working smarter. Eat healthy. Go to the gym.
Yep.
Don't go to the bar every night. Get a good rest. I know a lot of people in the live events industry now that are around my age. They're in really good shape.
Oh, yeah.
They go to the gym. It's like they learned somehow. Maybe they looked at the guys a little bit older. They're like, hey, I don't want to be 250 pounds climbing the projection scaff when I'm 50 years old.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, it's gonna at some point it's gonna become really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a musician that takes care of themselves. You can tour when you're 70 years old.
Yep.
But I think when you're a young kid and you're 21 years old and you just go into this industry and you're like all doe-eyed, you don't really think about those things.
And you worry
later.
like, what if I say no? They're not going to call me back. Or what if I do this? They're not going to do this. And I think mentors would be the best option. I think having people pick other people up and go, okay, you're going to screw up. It's okay to screw up. A lot of people fear, well, what if I know, okay, I'll say me. I picked up jobs that went, oh crap, I didn't ask them enough questions. What if I'm over my head? What if they're shipping me out somewhere and all of a sudden I got a huge blend and I got stacks of projectors and I have this and I'm running a crew, and what if I run into this problem and I can't time manage this and the show runs, and it's not happen, but it's something that's there. And
Right.
Learning to just go to the gym, let out that stress, let out that frustration, make sure I get the sleep instead of sitting and thinking about it, making sure I eat correctly. Those are things that you do lose. I know when I first started, I was like, let's do a 16-hour day and let's go back at it and do it again tomorrow. You like you said, you go in all wide-eyed wanting to do it.
Which is part of just being young. I mean, that's just how it is. But to your point, being a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
once you get a little bit older, that's something that hasn't really happened in our industry before, where you can actually tell people that are starting out, look, this is a great industry. Yeah. I highly recommend it to anybody. Even if you want to do something else, technical, like let's say you want to be in film and television. It's
Mm-hmm.
very hard to be successful in film and television. So why not get proficient at a few things in live events? Maybe that's not what you want to do as a career path, but at least you can fall back on it and take a gig. You don't have to take a full-time job. You just have to take a week-long show, make some money, and then keep pursuing your career.
And that's the great thing about it. It's on call. A lot of these companies, even if you're not a freelancer and you don't have your business, if you're just going in as local labor, some of these companies just need somebody once a month, twice a month, 3 times a year. You can make good money going into it. And use the skills that you use at your house every single day. Most people know how to turn on a laptop. Most people know how to unload a truck. They move. It's not I think it's just that concept of it's all or nothing. When you become a doctor, you're a doctor. Like, I don't know many people that have a second job when they're a doctor. You can do this industry and you can go into it. You can go into it when you're 50. You can go into it when you're 18. You can go into it at any time in your life.
And you can come back to it. So I guess what we should end on, for any people that are aspiring to get into this industry, someone that's young or old or maybe coming out of the military, what advice would you give them?
Just do it. Like, I truly believe that you just go into it. Just start wherever you can start, but educate yourself. Learn those. Even if you're going into it part-time, the more you know in the industry, the more you can charge in the industry.
Right.
The more you can be selective in the industry. And I feel like that would be my thing. Just do it. Don't have that fear. Don't have the perception of what the industry is, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because it might have been back then, but corporate's changed a lot. Even the rock and roll has changed a lot.
Well, it used to. I remember my dad, like 20 years ago, I've been paying my bills for 20 years. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I've always paid the rent. I've always done okay. But I remember when he found out what I was doing for a living, he literally looked at me at the kitchen table. I was like 18. He goes, "Great, my son's a roadie." And I said, you don't even know what you're talking about. No disrespect to you, Dad, but like I'm not a roadie. Like, I think that's a misconception. Is people just think, hey, you're a roadie. It's like, no, roadies are on the road with the tour, or they go up in the show blacks and they move the microphones around, on stage. But that's not a roadie. And I think our industry has to work on misconceptions, which is there's roadies. There's live event technicians that are highly, highly skilled, that do amazing things. I mean, if you go, maybe a lot of people haven't been on a live corporate event, but go see a tour nowadays. Go see a Beyonce tour, a Coldplay tour, U2. Those are really highly paid, highly skilled individuals that are making a miracle happen every single night.
Yes.
So that's a misconception. A lot of times people think of our industry, they think AV. Well, that's overheads and flip charts. Well, no, it's not. I don't even like to use the word AV. It's live event production, and it's really cool. And these are all the things that, like, you see our industry everywhere, whether you're watching the Academy Awards or going to a tour, going to see a show, going to see a Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas, or going to...
But no one ever sees that, so that the idea of it even existing isn't out there.
Well, and the other thing, too, is we all kind of, our live event technicians work in the shadows.
Yep.
And they don't talk about what they do a lot, or they have a hard time talking about it because it is hard to explain exactly what you do.
Oh, when I tell people that I do it, that the concepts of what do you actually do?
Yeah. But imagine a guidance counselor. I have friends that have known me
forever that they were like, what do you actually do?
But a guidance counselor is never going to say, hey, Cassandra, I think you should look at a career in the live events industry.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is. Nobody knows. It's like the secret. So we got to get the secret out. I guess that's the point. And I think the idea of mentorship is very important, and teaching younger people or people that are new in our industry, kind of showing them the ropes and saying, look, I've done things that are good and things that are bad. These are what I've learned. And, for me, the two biggest lessons, when someone's coming in fresh to the industry, is ask a lot of questions and be humble.
Yes.
And people will take you under their wing because they'll like you. Don't show up there like you're running the show.
That is something that was really hard. Learn to fail. And move forward from it, because a lot of people, they fail and then they just step away. They go, I can't recover. Learn to recover. Learn to fail, recover, ask those questions.
Right. Well, look, congratulations on your success.
Yeah.
And hopefully you keep growing your business. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that was a pretty good first episode of Tech Forward. So thanks for you guys that are out there watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.